Chapter 91. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Translator. Dragon Boat Translation Editor. Dragon Boat Translation. Don't worry, no one will prosper if I don't. Chen laughed out loud a few times and went back to his room. As soon as he entered his room, the communication token lit up. Chen took it out and took a look, only to see that he had received a message from his master Xiao Wuyo. There was only one short sentence. Disciple, I have successfully broken through to the middle stage of the nascent soul realm. The sentence was short but the meaning was extraordinary. If he reached the early nascent soul stage, it would not be difficult for the Wuxia clan to kill him, but now that he was at the middle stage of nascent soul, it would be a tall order. If Xiao Wuyo was really ruthless and gave up the Tianyun clan to create trouble for the Wuxia clan, the Wuxia clan would get a huge headache too. In short, it was a status of cultivation that would be enough to intimidate the Wuxia clan. Hence, after reading the message, Chen revealed a heartened smile. Master didn't let those heavenly treasures go to waste after all. L.rg. As time passed, the day gradually turned bright. The prosperous kingdoms in the nation spontaneously gathered at the field of the capital. Everyone paid attention to the ranking battle of the 36 clans because it concerned the state of Jin. On this day, everything else in the capital seemed insignificant, as all eyes were fixed on the ranking battle. At this moment, 36 high platforms had been erected around the capital's arena. Behind each high platform, there was a flag with the name of each clan written on it. The clans were arranged around the arena, from the Wuxia clan which was in first place, to the Divine Blade clan which was in the 36th place. The scene was grand and solemn. May I invite the successors of the 36 clans to ascend the stage. At noontime, a golden core elder stood in the middle of the arena and yelled loudly. His voice spread throughout the area around him that was within 1,000-meter radius, shaking the hearts and souls of the people like a big bell. Hearing this voice, a line of people appeared at the entrance of the arena, who were the successors of the 36 clans. Seeing the grand atmosphere, the successors felt extremely depressed as they had somber expressions. The battle concerned the ranking of the clans. They were considered to have shouldered the burden of fighting for the future of their clans and they were extremely pressurized. A moment later, the successors of the clans returned to the high platform of their respective clans and looked at the huge ring in the center of the arena. Chen leaned on the seat belonging to the Tianyun clan and scrutinized the group of successors. Some of the successors looked calm while some seemed to be stepping on eggshells, such as Yulanxin of the Yushui clan who would look at him pleadingly from time to time helplessly. Since she was outside, her unreliable senior brother was probably the only person she could rely on. Don't worry. Chen smiled and gestured. He had seen Yulanxin's sincerity in the past few days and he naturally wouldn't go back on his word. When Yulanxin saw Chen's gesture, she finally relaxed a little and began to look at the successors of the other clans in the distance. The successors of the other 18 clans, please come on stage. The Golden Core Elder's voice sounded again but this time, it was much softer. Compared to the successors of the 36 clans that were sitting on the platform and looking down from above, the ones of the 18 clans had no choice but to sit below and gather together in an undignified manner. Nevertheless, the auras of the successors of the 18 clans were as cold as ice and their paces were firm. As they walked together, they formed a domineering aura and strode into the territory of the 36 clans. Staring at the 36 people who were passing by, Chen asked the system, besides me, who is the strongest person within a 30-meter radius nearby? The person in black 10 meters diagonally towards your left below you. The system's answer was brief and concise. Chen followed the system's guidance and saw a black figure at the end of the crowd. That made him a little surprised. Reason being that person was only at the late stage of foundation establishment, and was not ranked high among the elites. He was probably at the same level as Yulanxin. However, the system wouldn't lie, so the only explanation was that the person had hidden his strength. Moreover, he had hidden a great portion of it. Strength was not something that could be judged easily. It concerned various factors that included equipment, status of cultivation, battle experience, and many others. However, the system did not mention it. In other words, that person was definitely the strongest, and even Qi Bufan, who was ranked first, could not compare to him. That was interesting. Qi Bufan was ranked third among the elites, surpassing Yi Wuxian. Hence, he was definitely strong. Even if there was something wrong with the elite's ranking, he would surely be on par with Yi Wuxian, if not only slightly inferior. However, under such circumstances, he was defeated by the man in black. So, what exactly is the strength of this man? Before Chen Chen thought about it, the successor in black turned around and looked in Chen Chen's direction before turning around again. Chen Chen only saw an extremely ordinary face, but he didn't let his guard down. Instead, his expression became more serious and solemn. This person is so sharp, but why did he hide his strength? Chen Chen was filled with bewilderment. Unfortunately, he excluded himself when he used the system and the group of people were 30 meters away from him. Otherwise, Chen Chen would be able to know if he was stronger than that successor. Do you all have anything to say before the ranking battle of the 36 clans begins? After the successors of the 18 clans were seated, the Golden Core Elder in the center of the arena exclaimed in a low voice. Everyone else fell silent upon hearing his words. What is there to say? They'll just showcase their abilities next then. However, at this moment, Chen Chen suddenly spoke. I have something to say. After he said that, all the successors turned to look at him. The Yushui clan and the Tianyun clan are united. Anyone who dares to challenge the Yushui clan should consider the consequences. Okay, I'm done. You guys continue. After saying that, Chen Chen leaned against the seat again. He closed his eyes and ignored all the peculiar gazes that were being cast at him. At this moment, the 50-odd successors were looking at Chen Chen, who was on the platform. Although they were divided into a number of factions, none of them were as provocative as Chen Chen. What does the successor of the Tianyun clan mean by this? Is this a threat to everyone present? He's ranked 7th among the elites. Who gave him the confidence? Only Yu Lanxin looked at Chen Chen with admiration. She had thought that Chen Chen would protect her, but she never thought he would be so blatant about it. Although his method was direct, she liked it a lot. Who would have thought that her senior brother Chen Chen, who spent all day hanging out in brothels, would be so reliable at critical junctures? Hee, you have nothing else to say, do you? In this case, may the ranking battle officially begin. Hearing this, the Golden Core Elder smiled too. Seeing that no one else was speaking, he directly announced the start of the competition. Tension arose in the arena immediately. The dignitaries around the arena also instantly quieted down. Everyone was curious about who would fight the first battle. No one from the 36 clans made a single sound, as all of them were sitting peacefully on the high platform. The successors of the 18 clans below were shuttling back and forth between the various high platforms with cold gazes in their eyes. At this moment, one of them stood out with a menacing smile. I'm Zhu Ji from Hosher clan, I'm challenging Yulanshi, the successor of Yushui clan. As soon as he said that, everyone turned to look at Chen Chen. The successor of Tianyun clan has just issued a warning and someone has already come forth to challenge her. There's no respect given. Yulanshin's face became sullen as she turned her head to look at Chen Chen robotically with an innocent expression. She even thought that she wouldn't have to take part in the first fight since Chen Chen had already said those words. Chen Chen ignored him and simply looked down at Zhu Ji of the Hosher clan. A moment later, he chuckled. Staring at Chen Chen, Zhu Ji felt a little scared, but she subconsciously glanced at Qi Bufan. Qi Bufan glared at him and said coldly, with us around, what are you afraid of? Hearing this, Zhu Ji hurriedly regained her confidence and leaped forward towards the center of the ring, curling her finger at Yulanxin. Successor of the Yushui clan, come down, I'm not used to looking up at others. Yulanxin stood on the platform distractedly. Senior brother, what do I do? Although she was a successor, she had never seen much of the world, let alone get into fights. Go ahead, admit defeat if you can't beat them. Just don't get hurt. After giving her that instruction, Chen remained calm. However, a stern look flashed in his eyes. Chapter 92. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Yulanxin slowly flew off the high platform and landed in the center of the ring. As soon as she landed, aquatic ethereality began to rotate around her body, protecting her tightly. The successor of the Huda clan laughed at the sight of Yulanxin's cowardly appearance. The 36 clans have so many resources, but they produced such a cowardly successor like you. Having been humiliated, Yulanxin blocked her ears with 2 wisps of aquatic ethereality instead of retaliating. Seeing this scene, the 36 clan successors on the high platform all remained silent. Where did this joker come from? Even the corners of Chen's eyelids began to twitch. He had seen cowards before, but it was his first time seeing someone as wimpy as Yulanxin. If it weren't for his master's lover, he would have definitely given that silly woman a teaching. Let's start. The rules of the competition are very simple. Beat your opponent until they admit defeat or lose their ability to move, remember, no killing. The Golden Core Elder acted as the referee and retreated to the edge of the ring after giving out the instructions. As soon as he said that, Zhu Ji's smile became hideous. He then stepped on the ring and countless spikes emerged from the ground under the ring, extending towards Yulanxin. Seeing this, Yulanxin immediately flew up into the sky and chanted an incantation. Soon, countless aquatic ethereality formed a rain of arrows that were shot towards Zhu Ji. Whoosh! Whoosh! All of a sudden, the arrows covered the sky with incessant sounds of whistling. Seeing this scene, Chen's eyes lit up. Although Yulanxin had a terrible personality, she had good reflexes and combat techniques. She was indeed worthy of her ranking among the elites. Put a shield. After Zhu Ji yelled sternly, a 2-meter thick earth wall rose up from the ground below the ring, rising to more than 5 meters high in the blink of an eye to block all the water arrows. Zhu Ji then stepped on the ground and flew up, shrouded in a large amount of earth ethereality as she flew towards Yulanxin. Be it the successors of the 36 clans on the high platform or the people of the 18 clans below, they were all watching the fight between the two with great focus. At the same time, they were also silently estimating the strength of the two parties. Although they were fighting each other, they would be the opponents of the others present in no time. The two people in the ring fought back and forth for 2 minutes, and Yulanxin gradually showed signs of defeat. Honestly, in terms of combat techniques, the Yushui clan was indeed better than the Huda clan, but their attributes clashed and Yulanxin lacked experience. Hence, no matter how much effort she put in, she still wasn't Zhu Ji's match. Just admit defeat, Chen said, seated on the high platform. He condensed his voice into a line and transmitted it towards Yulanxin. Hearing Chen's words, Yulanxin persisted for another minute before admitting defeat and retreating from the ring. Staring at the successor of the Huda clan, Yulanxin looked away. The Huda clan replaces the Yushui clan as the clan in the 14th place. The Golden Core Elder announced loudly before waving a hand. The Yushui clan's flag, which was beside Chen, was lowered slowly, after which the earthy yellow flag of the Huda clan was raised. Looking at the flag of her clan being replaced, Yulanxin could not hold it in any longer and burst straight into tears. The successors of the 36 could not bring themselves to laugh. Well, the clans that could earn a place on the high platform all had a heritage of at least 1,000 years. The 36 clans had been in their rankings for at least hundreds of years. The status that her clan had been upholding for hundreds of years were ruined because of her weakness. One can only imagine how emotionally stressed she must have been. If they were in her place, they might cry too or even commit suicide if that was possible. Ednel.co. They were truly too embarrassed to return to their clans and see their masters and fellow disciples. Saintess of the Yushui clan, return to your seat. The Golden Core elder pointed to the seat under the high platform and said coldly. Hearing this, Yulanxin wiped her tears and sat down among the 18 clans. The successors of the 18 clans did not have the slightest sympathy for her, because they could not wait for the 36 clans to be replaced. Hence, when they saw how devastated Yulanxin was, they mocked her mercilessly. Yulanxin sat among them like a small sheep in a wolf pack. However, she was not completely vulnerable. When she heard the surrounding mockery, she stopped crying, sat up straight and kept a cold and straight face again, restoring her aloofness and condescending attitude. This woman has probably brainwashed herself again. Chen was a bit speechless. Yulanxin was good at nothing except deceiving herself. She could even be called an expert at blocking out criticism. He had seen the way she acted when she was teaching the girls at Iran Inn. Yulanxin sat down below while Zhu Ji naturally went up to the high platform and sat beside Chen. Ha, this feeling of looking down on others is wonderful. Zhu Ji leaned back against the seat like Chen did and looked at Chen provocatively from time to time. You should cherish this period of time, it might be the peak of your life. Chen said indifferently without even looking at Zhu Ji. Zhu Ji had a protection time of 2 hours after the fight, which he could use to rest and restore his ethereality. After 2 hours, whoever wanted to challenge Zhu Ji could go up to the ring. Chen, I'm not your match, but don't be arrogant. If you can challenge me, there will naturally be people who can challenge you too. I hope you can still sit on this high platform and talk big at the end. After taunting, Zhu Ji took out a pill and swallowed it. He then took out 2 more spirit stones and absorbed it maniacally. At this moment, another disciple of one of the 18 clans went on the ring to challenge the Golden Sword clan, which was ranked 15th among the 36 clans. That disciple cultivated fire techniques and managed to beat the Golden Sword clan successor easily, blasting him out of the ring in a moment. The defeated Golden Sword clan successor looked up at the sky for a long time, his desperation making the hearts of the other successors of the 36 clans heavy. The next few scenes were more or less the same as the first 2, and after 2 hours, 8 of the 36 clans had been replaced. Seeing that the successors of the 18 clans intended to continue to challenge, Chen looked at Yulanxin who was at the far side of the border of the ring, and the corners of his mouth moved slightly. After receiving Chen's message, Yulanxin stood up fiercely and shouted, I challenge successor Chen of the Tianyun clan. Hearing her words, the successors quickly turned their heads to look at Chen who was on the high platform. It's starting. This successor of the Tianyun clan is going to take revenge for being insulted. Although they had expected that this would happen, no one thought the Tianyun clan successor would do it now. He did not hesitate even though the successors of the 18 clans had consecutively been winning the previous battles. He must be very confident. Previously, they had never seen the successor of the Tianyun clan, who was ranked 7th among the elites, attacking. Now they had the chance to. Hearing this, Chen stood up and leaped off the high platform. I concede defeat. Hearing this, the Golden Core elder signaled for the Yushui clan to replace the Tianyun clan as the 13th of the 36 clans. Elder, can I not rest? Chen asked. Yes, the Golden Core replied indifferently. Receiving this affirmative answer, Chen looked towards the high platform where the Huda clan successor was seated and said, I, Chen of Tianyun clan, would like to challenge Zhu Ji the successor of the Huda clan. Chapter 93 You are listening at novelfull.audio. Translator. Dragon Boat Translation Editor. Dragon Boat Translation Zhu Ji of the Huda clan took off his jacket immediately after hearing this, revealing his masculine muscles. He then flew down to the high platform and stood in the center of the ring. At this time, he was sulking in exasperation. He had yet to get comfortable in his seat and yet, Chen was already challenging him. Does he really think I'm made of clay? Despite thinking that way, he nevertheless looked at Chi Bufan and the other people of the 18 clans who hadn't been doing anything. Seeing this, Chi Bufan said indifferently, "If you can't beat him, just admit defeat. Don't get hurt." He said exactly the same thing that Chen Chen had said to Yulanxin just now, and everyone knew clearly what he meant. After receiving the affirmation from Chi Bufan, Zhu Ji instantly had the confidence to tauntingly curl his finger at Chen Chen, who was at the edge of the ring. Chen Chen smiled and slowly walked towards the ring. As Chen Chen approached, the clear sky gradually became cloudy, as if it was about to rain. The Golden Core Elder looked at the sky, and then looked at Chen Chen. A ray of light flashed in his eyes and he murmured. The Tianyun Divine Thunder Technique. He has cultivated to the point of being able to influence the weather. Duan Bing said this kid is extremely strong, it seems to be true. Looking at the clouds that gradually condensed above his head, the provocation on Zhu Ji's face suddenly disappeared and was replaced by caution. Then, he took a deep breath and coalesced his body's ethereality to the extreme. Tap. Tap. Chen Chen just walked slowly towards the ring, but with every step he took, the clouds in the sky would get thicker. Everyone present looked up to the sky, carefully feeling the power condensed in the gloomy clouds. Tianyun Clan's Tianyun Divine Thunder Technique is incredible. If the successor of the Heavenly Cloud Clan is so powerful, why wasn't he famous before this? Although everyone had doubts in their minds, they all thought that Chen Chen deserved to be ranked 7th among the elites. A few moments later, Chen Chen finally stepped into the ring. At this point, the entire ring had been completely covered by gloomy clouds, and from time to time, there would be lightning. Seeing this, Zhu Ji's eyelids twitched continuously. Begin. The Golden Core Elder said calmly. In his opinion, there was no longer any suspense regarding the outcome of the battle. The only thing that he was uncertain of was the method that the successor of the Huda clan would be defeated. As soon as he said that, Zhu Ji looked up and roared into the sky. I don't believe it. Along with the angry roar, the earth began to roll and a wall of soil that was 5 or 6 meters thick rose up to block his head. However, the sky was terribly gloomy. The thundery clouds rolled, but the emergence of the wall did not result in any changes. Zhu Ji only felt that there was a massive and oppressive aura that was locking onto him in the sky above him, filling his body with a huge pressure. He felt as if the sky was about to collapse and crash down on him. Boom! Lightning streaked through the clouds with a sudden explosion. Zhu Ji's body shivered in shock, and cold sweat instantly dripped down from his forehead. He felt that flash of horrifying power in that instant. At this moment, there were only 4 words in his mind. I can't resist it. With his strength, he could not block the blow of the rolling thundery clouds in the sky. At this thought, he suddenly looked down at Chen Chen, whose clothes were fluttering in the distance and seemed like he hadn't done anything. He also saw the contempt and mockery in Chen Chen's eyes. Seeing Chen Chen's expression, Zhu Ji was frightened and subconsciously yelled, I concede. Boom! Before he could say the word defeat, the thundery clouds in the sky suddenly changed and a bolt of lightning that cut through the sky suddenly appeared, blasting on top of the soil wall. Bang! Under the brilliant heavenly might, everyone turned pale while the wall shattered into pieces that flew 100 meters away. After the thunderstorm, the sky became clear and sunny again. Chen Chen had already turned around and walked down the ring. The Golden Core Elder flew to the center of the ring and scrutinized Zhu Ji, who was covered in black. He's seriously injured but not dead. After muttering to himself, he looked at Chen Chen's back and announced loudly, this battle has been won by Chen Chen, the successor of the Tianyun clan, which will replace the Huda clan in the 14th position of the 36 clans. After he said that, Chen Chen also happened to get out of the ring. At the same time, the flag of the Huda clan slowly fell and the flag of the Tianyun clan gradually rose. Chen Chen slowly flew up to the high platform and sat on the seat where Ipulin Xian was initially seated. Seeing this, the successors of the 36 clans had mixed feelings. Some of them were shocked while some were excited. They were astonished by Chen Chen, the successor of the Tianyun clan's competency and his ability to defeat Zhu Ji of the Huda clan with one move. They were excited because someone from their side had finally defeated a challenger from the 18 clans. Besides, he managed to do it in a quick and clean manner. Zhu Ji was carried away from the ring. Qi Bufan looked at Zhu Ji's pathetic appearance, his face incredibly tempestuous. If Zhu Ji's injuries were not treated with powerful heavenly treasures, he probably wouldn't regain consciousness anytime soon. In this situation, what's the point of challenging? In other words, after this battle, Chen Chen basically kicked the Huda clan out of the ranking battle of the 36 clans. That guy is asserting dominance. Zhu Ji clearly wanted to admit defeat, but that guy was too ruthless. How atrocious. Qi Bufan glowered at Chen Chen, who was on the high platform, his heart filled with fury. Chen Chen first caused Zhu Ji to have a mental breakdown because of his domineering aura, after which he left Zhu Ji with no chance to admit defeat, causing Zhu Ji to be severely injured with one move. It was simply a double blow to the mind and body. He was using it as an excuse to kill. The reason he went to such great lengths was undoubtedly to warn the challengers behind him. Bufan, why don't we wait until this afternoon and I go teach the successor of the Tianyun clan a lesson? A woman who was beside Qi Bufan and had a cold and hostile aura said coldly. That woman was the successor of the Xian Bing clan who had a status of cultivation that was at the peak of foundation building. She was ranked 5th among the elites and she cultivated the Xian Bing technique that was used specifically to restrain Yi Huang, the saintess of the Vermilion Bird clan. Okay. Qi Bufan subconsciously agreed. He couldn't help it because Chen Chen was just too detestable and he couldn't succumb to fate. If not for the fact that he could only challenge and be challenged once in half a day, he would have gone up to the arena personally. However, at that moment, a pair of calm eyes looked at him from afar. It was Chong Yi. Sensing the gaze, Qi Bufan gritted his teeth and said, "Forget it, let's follow the plan first. After we get rid of some tough nuts, we'll settle that Chen Chen." After saying that, he glanced at one of the successors behind him. Seeing this, that successor immediately stood up and said loudly, "I'm Yuan Qingtian of the Hidden Wind clan and I want to challenge successor Chong Yi of the Wuxia clan." Everyone got into an uproar after hearing that. Challenge Chong Yi. What's going on? Is Chong Yi going to do what Chen Chen did? I concede defeat, Chong Yi said indifferently, sitting on the first high platform. It was just as they thought. All the successors of the 36 clans instantly became nervous, afraid that they would become Chong Yi's target. Chong Yi was the successor of the Wuxia clan who was ranked first among the elites. Legend had it that he was already halfway in the Golden Core realm. He would probably easily defeat anyone present. I don't want to rest either, I'll challenge. At this point, Chong Yi glanced at Chen Chen while the other successors were on edge, not daring to breathe at all. Yu Lanxin was even more nervous than Chen Chen and was covering her small mouth, afraid that Chong Yi would call out Chen Chen's name. I shall challenge Yi Wuxia of the White Tiger clan. Rumor has it that the White Tiger battle heavenly technique is unparalleled. I would like to try it. As soon as Chong Yi said that, everyone heaved a sigh of relief. On the other hand, Yi Wuxia, who was clad in full body armor and whose face was concealed, slowly stood up with an infinite murderous aura. Chapter 94. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Translator. Dragon Boat Translation Editor. Dragon Boat Translation. Chen Chen was a little surprised now. He was not surprised that the Wuxia clan successor Chong Yi was going to challenge Yi Wuxia, but rather, he was surprised about Yuan Qingtian of the Hidden Wind clan. He was the strongest person of the 18 clans that the system had detected. He had an ordinary appearance and was dressed in a black training attire. On the surface, He didn't seem any different from an ordinary person and did not have a sense of presence at all. His role in the 18 clans seemed to have highlighted his appearance. He was just cannon fodder. The 18 clans wouldn't let an expert challenge others. It was because the person who was ranked first cannot challenge anyone and could only be challenged. Who would dare to challenge the person ranked in first place? They had to follow the instructions of the Wuxia clan, and if they took the initiative to challenge the one in the first place, they would be targeted by Chongyi. Hence, after Yuan Qingtian sat on the first seat he chose, it basically meant that he had to sit there for the next 2 days. He would only be allowed to get down after Yi Hua was done dealing with the others. Doesn't this mean that the most powerful successor among the 18 clans will have to be the mascot for 2 days? What a waste of talent. Chen Chen was bewildered and he didn't understand what the Wuxia clan was planning to do. At this moment, Yi Wuxia had already walked towards the ring. Due to the fact that he was covered in full body armor, his footsteps were heavy and the sound that he made with every step that he took seemed as if it was knocking on their hearts and making them feel oppressed. On the other hand, Chongyi flew directly to the center of the ring, seemingly relaxed. Looking at Chongyi in the distance, Yi Wuxia's faceplate shook slightly. I know I'm not your match yet, but the White Tiger clan will never surrender before putting up a fight. Ha! Chongyi snorted expressionlessly. The two of them stood in the ring, staring at each other. In the next second, a majestic and murderous aura suddenly emanated from Yi Wuxia's body. Sensing the murderous aura, the Golden Core Elder who was the judge, was affected and took 2 steps backwards. Are you intending to exert your full strength as soon as you come up? Chongyi asked indifferently. Yi Wuxia didn't answer. His full body armor suddenly flickered with some ethereal light, after which a large white tiger figure that was nearly 10 meters long and 4 meters tall emerged behind him. This white tiger shadow roared and soared to the sky while the terrifying pressure spread in all directions. The successors of the 36 clans who were sitting on the high platform, could not help but turn pale when they were shrouded by the terrifying pressure because in their opinion, it was not a white tiger but a sea of corpses and blood. God knows how many demon clan members Yi Wuxia had killed to achieve the 4th place among the elites. Kill! Seeing the white tiger take shape, Yi Wuxia roared, and punched Chongyi. At the same time, the massive white tiger shadow also lunged forward madly. At this time, Chongyi closed his eyes, took a deep breath, and muttered something incoherent under his breath. In the next second, an extreme gloomy wave of chilliness enveloped the entire ring, and White Tiger's shadow suddenly collapsed while the ethereality on Yi Wuxia's fist immediately vanished. Before the crowd could see clearly what had happened, Chongyi had already reached Yi Wuxia with some disappointment in his eyes. Yi Wuxia, your heart is filled with resentment and you seem to have some kind of obsession. In this state, you will never be my opponent. After saying this, Chongyi slapped his palm on Yi Wuxia's body. Bang! With a loud sound of an explosion, Yi Wuxia darted out like a cannonball and crashed into the fence of the arena in the distance. The fence collapsed and Yi Wuxia's full body armor was quickly dyed red with blood. Don't worry, he's not dead. Chongyi uttered those words calmly before flying in the direction of the palace. Of course he wouldn't take Yi Wuxia's seat. Sitting there was like an insult to him. After Chongyi left, the arena fell silent. Yi Wuxia, who was ranked 3rd among the elites, had been defeated. That was the power of the new king of the state of Jin, who was ranked in 1st place. In the next 2.5 days, Chongyi could challenge 5 more people. Excluding the insignificant Yuan Qingtian, there were still 4 people from the 36 clans who needed to fight against Chongyi. Who will be those 4 people? Thinking of this, the hearts of the top 10 successors of the 36 clans were all heavy. Senior brother Chen Chen, the strength you showed earlier was impressive, I think you'll be targeted by Chongyi. Yu Lanxin said with a worried face. So be it then. What else can I do? At most, I'll just get seriously injured, and then we'll both go home, Chen Chen replied heartlessly. Yulanxin looked at Yi Wuxian, who was covered in blood, and muttered with some fear in her eyes, "What? Aren't you scared of pain?" Chen Chen was a bit speechless. Is this saintess afraid of pain? However, on second thought, he felt that he seemed to be a little scared too. Once Yi Wuxian was defeated, the morale of the successors were boosted. Immediately afterwards, the saintess of the Xian Bing clan challenged Yi Huang, the saintess of the Vermilion Bird clan, thus removing her clan from the fourth place. However, that battle was extremely brutal and tragic, as both parties were severely injured in the end. The ranking battle was now in a cool-down stage. After one morning, 15 of the 36 clans had been replaced by the 18 clans. Qi Bufan and another 2 cannon fodders were the only ones who hadn't attacked. In the afternoon, the 36 clans also began to counterattack. However, the targets of their counterattack were the weaker ones among the 36 clans, who had defected to the Wuxin clan a long time ago. Even though they weren't that competent, no one challenged them yet. Hence, in the afternoon, that group of people became the targets for others to vent their anger, but they had the self-awareness to admit defeat without putting up a fight. Seeing that the sun was gradually setting, Chongyi once again went onto the ring and challenged Lin Jin, the successor of the Green Dragon clan. Again, he struck Lin Jin with a single move and seriously injured him before leaving effortlessly. As such, the first day of the ranking battle came to an end. The list of the original 36 clans of the state of Jin had been completely changed, and none of the top 10 clans of the state of Jin had maintained their original positions. However, that was not the worst. The worst was that apart from Chongyi, the other successors of the top 10 clans were severely injured and no longer able to fight. If they couldn't find any special means, they would eventually be expelled from the 36 clans. On the contrary, Chen Chen and Yulanxin seemed to have become the biggest winners among the top 15 clans, as they were merely switching positions and did not suffer any injuries. "Senior brother Chen Chen, I'll give you a back rub." On the way back, Yulanxin was extremely nice to him, and she was no different from an ordinary little girl. "Ha, I'm not trying to criticize you, but you're being too timid for a saintess. Look at Xiao Huang, she might have her technique restrained, but she has the guts to fight." In the end, she defeated the saintess of the Xian Bing clan badly too. Chen Chen walked while educating Yulanxin. "Senior brother Chen Chen, I still have you, don't I? If I was forced into a desperate situation, would have also dared fight for my life." Yulanxin clenched her small fists and swore. As the two of them were talking, sounds of hollering suddenly came from the far side of the road. "Raise the price by 30% and try to buy some heavenly treasures." As soon as that person spoke, another person followed suit. "Double the price of heavenly treasures for healing. Quadruple it. Raise the price tenfold." Chen Chen was dumbfounded. Raise the number of healing heavenly treasures by 10 times. Are they in that dire of a situation? However, he suddenly realized something a moment later. Those who were injured were probably the disciples of the entourage of the successors. How could they not be anxious about the ranking battle? The rapid healing heavenly treasures were not common vegetables that could be found everywhere and were scarce in the entire capital. If others bought it, they might die and be kicked out of the 36 clans. They had to buy those treasures even if it cost them their entire fortune. Having figured that out, Chen Chen was a little excited. It was a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity for him. After a moment of hesitation, Chen Chen casually took out a piece of purple Ganoderma from his storage ring and handed it to Yulanxin. "Here, go sell it for me." Yulanxin looked at the purple Ganoderma, feeling the pinch. "We barely have enough healing treasures for ourselves. How can you bear to sell it to someone else?" However, when she saw how resolute Chen Chen was, she had no choice but to comply and walk towards the crowd with the purple Ganoderma. "I have a piece of purple Ganoderma here. I don't know how old it is." Before Yulanxin finished speaking, the group of people surrounded her. "I offer 400 spirit stones." 800, 1000. Chapter 95. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Translator. Dragon Boat Translation Editor. Dragon Boat Translation. He said indifferently, I'm offering 10,000 spirit stones. Just when the bidding was getting heated, Xianxia suddenly hollered loudly, and then went forward to bring the purple Ganoderma back. Everyone was dumbfounded. Offering 10,000 spirit stones for a piece of purple Ganoderma was completely beyond their imagination. Xianxia ignored the shocked gazes of the crowd, turned around and left, while Yulanxin followed behind in silence. Senior brother Chen, what are you doing? I suddenly regret it. I told you, it's a pity to sell such a good thing. Senior brother Chen, you don't look like someone who is short of spirit stones. Yulanxin sighed with relief. I love to hear that from you. When he returned to Iran, the first thing Xianxia did was to ask Zhang Ji and Sun Tiangang to go out and scout for news about various heavenly treasures. However, a few moments later, the two returned. As Xianxia had thought, the city's pharmacies and auction houses simultaneously removed all the healing heavenly treasures off the shelves. The successors of the 36 clans could send people to go out and try their luck to obtain heavenly treasures, or buy them from those successors who were not injured. Since they were successors, they definitely had plenty of such items in their storage ring, but it was too difficult to restore their strength and combat power to the fullest in a short period of time. They would have to absorb a large amount of heavenly treasures in order to achieve that. They did not have powerful heavenly treasures. There was nothing they could do. What could they do? They could only send people to beg the successors. However, they dare those successors sell their heavenly treasures, knowing that there were still 2 days left in the ranking battle. What if they get injured afterwards? By then, they would really have nothing left. It's such a pity. Standing on the roof of the Iran Inn, Xianxia looked at the people who were getting as busy as a bee, and gently heaved a sigh of relief. At this moment, a melancholic voice sounded in front of the Iran Inn. The Vermilion Bird clan is here to ask for medicine. As soon as she said that, a Vermilion Bird clan disciple entered the Iran Inn. As the most powerful one, Xianxia did not harm the successor, and naturally, he would become the person whom everyone asked for medicine from. Successor of the Tianyun clan, my saintess said that she's willing to spend 5,000 spirit stones. The female disciple of the Vermilion Bird clan bowed with a humble attitude. However, before she even finished speaking, she was interrupted by Xianxia. I don't lack spirit stones. As soon as he said that, the successors of the Vermilion Bird clan had a look of helplessness. That's what the first few successors said, but how could no one lack spirit stones in this world? At the end of the day, it was just a tactful and polite way of refusing. Just as she was about to try her luck with the other successors, Xianxia spoke again. You can ask me for medicine, but get your saintess to come here. Those of you outside, stop eavesdropping. You guys too. If you want to ask for medicine, come in person. Hearing Xianxia's words, the female disciple of the Vermilion Bird clan looked out of the door in horror. Damn, there are so many rivals behind me, and I didn't even know it. Whoosh! Whoosh! A series of whistling sounds rang out, and those few people disappeared into the darkness like an arrow that sprung off the bow. Since the successor of the Tianyun clan was willing to give them healing heavenly treasures, they had to hurry back to inform their successor, lest their medicine get snatched up. Seeing this, the Vermilion Bird clan disciple gritted her teeth and quickly followed out. Seeing this, Zhang Ji asked curiously, Brother, are you really going to give those successors the heavenly treasures to heal their wounds? Of course I have to. Otherwise, I will become their target tomorrow. In order to stop the Wuxia clan from unifying the forces, we still have to rely on those successors to take the lead, but if they want to take my treasures, they have to pay a small price. Xianxia asked with a smile. Zhang Ji pondered at the side for a long time and finally understood. There was a look of admiration in his eyes. Big brother is wise. Soon. The saintess of the Vermilion Bird clan Xiao Huang was the first to arrive, but her face was pale and terrifying. She entered silently like a ghost, almost frightening all the girls in Iran. I've embarrassed myself, junior brother. I got injured during a fight with that bitch in the day. Xiao Huang forced a smile. The bitch she was referring to was obviously the saintess of the Xianbing clan. Chen Chen was speechless. Xiao Huang was a saintess after all. Yet, she kept calling someone else a bitch. Clearly she was upset. Before he could speak, the door of the Iran Inn was opened again. Immediately afterwards, the successors began surging in one after another. Lin Jin of the Green Dragon clan, Yi Wuxing of the White Tiger clan, Xian Hong of the Xuanwu clan. All of them were there. In a few moments, 11 successors staggered into the Iran residence. The faces of those successors were not much different from Xiao Huang's, as they were all as pale as a sheet. If Chen Chen hadn't met them before, he would have probably thought a group of zombies had walked in. This is terrible. Chen Chen sighed. Yesterday, those successors were full of vigor, but now, they were in such a terrible shape that they looked frightening. What a stark contrast. However, Chen Chen still admired them. During the day, most of them were either seriously injured or knocked unconscious. However, after a short period of time, they could already start walking. Clearly, they had good foundation. Senior brother Chen, how many heavenly treasures do you have there? How many are you willing to give up? Lin Jin, the successor of the Green Dragon clan, was the first to speak. There was an affable and affectionate on his pale face, making him look pitiful. He couldn't help it. Since he was under someone else's roof, he had to swallow his pride. Even the elite in the second place had to force a smile and greet Lin Li in a friendly manner. Not much. Chen Chen said calmly, after which the successors who were present immediately tensed up. At the same time, a hostile tension arose. Since there weren't many heavenly treasures, they would have to compete. Everyone around them was their competitor. System, where is the most valuable thing within a 30-meter radius? The Tiger Spirit Chain Armor 3 meters to your left. Where's the second most valuable item? The Phoenix Blood Begonia Pendant 2 meters to the right. Hearing the answers, Chen Chen felt amazed. The successors were rather rich. There were quite a few things outside the storage ring that were already more valuable than the equipment on his body. As expected, the things that could be bought were not the best. The best were the ones that could not be bought. However, those things were going to have a change of owner today. However, before that, he had to give it a try. At the thought of that, Chen Chen picked out a 10,000.year.old red ginseng from his storage ring. I have a 10,000.year.old red ginseng here that can allow one of you to heal completely. Name your price. However, I'm going to make things clear. I don't want lousy items like spirit stones. Looking at the red ginseng, the eyes of the successors lit up. Their faces were pale like that of zombies. Although they also had such things before, what they had were ginseng pieces. Yet, the successor of the Tianyun clan brought out an entire red ginseng. Senior brother Chen, I have a vermilion bird feather here. It has divine qualities. At this moment Xiao Huang no longer addressed him as junior brother and instead called him senior brother. He also took out a dazzling feather from his storage ring. Seeing that feather, the successors were horrified. Damn it, this is a priceless item. It's the feather of a divine beast. Chen. Ahem, I have an egg here. There is a chance of hatching a black tortoise. At this point, Xian Hong was no longer arrogant. However, he found it difficult to swallow his pride and bring himself to call Chen Chen senior brother. However, the item he took out made the crowd feel astonished. There's a chance of hatching a black tortoise. This is incredible. Chapter 96. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Black tortoise egg. How is that possible? Xiao Huang was displeased. Pure divine beasts were at the Golden Core realm from the moment they were born. They were far from what the random beasts could compare to. If the Xuanwu clan had black tortoise eggs, they would have hidden them and kept them for their own hatching. How would they casually carry it around everywhere and take them out to exchange for something else? Hearing this, Xian Hong's face turned red and he remained silent. Instead, Lin Jin, who was at the side, said, Xuanwu clan is established on the remains of a mountain-sized black tortoise. Rumor has it that when the clan was founded, the ancestor got hundreds of black tortoise eggs, but due to various reasons, they failed to hatch. Could this be one of them? Seeing that he had been exposed, Xian Hong stopped trying to hide it. He scratched his head and said, You guys know the value of divine beasts that can be hatched successfully. The rate of hatching is extremely low, but ultimately there is a slight probability. I'm not lying. Even if it's 1 in a billion, there's still a chance, isn't there? Xian Hong thought to himself. Hearing his words, Xiao Huang snorted coldly. She smiled and said to Chen Chen, Senior brother Chen, instead of taking his broken egg, why don't you take my vermilion bird feather instead? There are only a few vermilion bird feathers in the entire vermilion bird clan. It is the top material for refining magic treasures and its value is immeasurable. Junior brother Chen, I have a golden dragon pearl here, although it is only an ordinary demon dragon's dragon pearl, but it contains a trace of the true dragon's breath. Lin Jin took out a golden dragon pearl and joined the bidding. The other successors followed and echoed, and a few moments later, the entire courtyard of Iran Inn was illuminated by the light of treasures. Looking at that piece of supreme treasure, Chen Chen's jaw dropped. The value of those things was not comparable to the 10,000 red ginseng, but this group of successors took them out without the slightest hesitation. It was like the frenzy that a person who is dying of thirst would feel when they see water. System, where is the most valuable thing within a 30-meter radius? A half-dead black tortoise egg 2 meters ahead. Where's the second most valuable item? The tiger spirit chain armor 3 meters to your left. Hearing the system's answer, Chen Chen hesitated for a moment and handed the 10,000-year-old red ginseng to Xian Hong. Junior brother Xian, I'll take this egg of yours. You might not know this, but I like to take gambles. In case a black tortoise hatches out of this, I'll make a lot of money. Xian Hong could not care less about being called junior brother when he heard that. Happiness was written all over his face. Hatching a black tortoise. This fool. The Xuanwu clan hasn't hatched a single black tortoise in thousands of years. You're an outsider of the industry and you think you can hatch one. Aren't you teasing me? However, despite feeling disdainful towards Chen Chen, he was quick to hold on to the black tortoise egg and place it in Chen Chen's hand. He even sent him a demonic beast bag, as if he was afraid that Chen Chen would go back on his word. Seeing Xian Hong taking away the red ginseng merrily, the other successors' faces turned extremely gloomy. Now that the red ginseng had been taken away, there was no longer any hope for them. Just as they were about to leave, Chen Chen reached his hand out to retrieve another 10,000-year-old purple Ganoderma. This is my life-saving item. I would have never taken it out at first, but after seeing you guys. We're all from the 36 clans and it pains me to see you hurt too. As Chen Chen spoke earnestly, he even wiped the corner of his eyes, causing the successors' faces to twitch. As if I'd believe you, you're just trying to take advantage of the situation. My vermilion bird feather. Xiao Huang took out that vermilion bird feather again. However, Chen Chen waved his hand and hinted, I heard. You have a special jade pendant. Xiao Huang's face turned drastically sullen. I keep that jade pendant with me at all times. Apart from the clan master of the Vermilion Bird clan, no one knows about it. How did this kid find out? Could he have peeked at it before? She inhaled sharply. Thinking of this, Xiao Huang's pale face turned a little rosy. Shameless little thief. Ignoring Xiao Huang's expression, Chen Chen ran to Yi Wuxing's side again, and gently knocked on Yi Wuxing's armor. Clang! Senior brother Yi, this armor of yours is really brittle. I love hearing such pleasant sounds. Hearing this, Yi Wuxing coughed violently a few times while his faceplate twitched continuously. After a long time, he said coldly, I can't remove this tiger spirit chain armor. If you can remove it, I'll give it to you. Shocked to hear his words, Chen Chen looked at Yi Wuxing in amazement. If he can't remove this armor, how can he get married in the future? Damn, not to mention marrying a daughter. In law, even his daily activities are going to be an issue. Fortunately, Yi Wuxing had a high status of cultivation and probably didn't have to relieve nature's calls and eat. However, wearing the armor all day was too inconvenient. No wonder Chongyi said that Yi Wuxing is filled with resentment. He lives in an armor all day. Of course he'd be resentful, I can't take this armor, it's too horrifying. Chen Chen, this is the clan master token of the White Tiger clan. I can give it to you. From now on, you can use this token to make me or the people of the White Tiger clan do one thing for you. Yi Wuxing's tone was still cold and aloof, but it contained a sense of determination to die, which caused the hearts of the surrounding successors to tremble. It was obviously a desperate attempt since he had taken out the clan master token too. One thing. What is the extent of this one thing? Chen Chen asked, his face becoming solemn. I can't guarantee for the White Tiger clan, but you can make me die, Yi Wuxing said straightforwardly. Okay, this purple Ganoderma is for you. Thank you very much. Wait, senior brother Chen, I can give you my jade pendant. Seeing this, Xiao Huang's heart was filled with anxiety. She wanted to stop him, but Yi Wuxing had already taken the purple Ganoderma and ran away. Chen Chen put away the clan master token and coughed gently twice. In fact, I still have an ultimate life-saving item, which is also my trump card that I will never take it out until the last moments before death. The successors were speechless. Half an hour later, Chen Chen drove away several successors who wanted to see how many life-saving items he had. He then closed the door of Iran Inn and began to count his spoils. 1/2 dead black tortoise egg that has a chance of hatching. 1 clan master token of the White Tiger clan. 1 phoenix blood begonia pendant, a cultivation treasure that is capable of gathering spiritual energy. It will clear the mind and concentrate the spirit. It is rumored to have unknown metaphysical effects. Dragon. Slaying sword, dyed with the blood of several demonic dragons. Specializes in warding against all kinds of demonic and evil beings, it is the top spiritual weapon. Chen Chen naturally could not give every successor a heavenly treasure, as that would cause inflation. Besides, when the last few successors saw that he seemed to have numerous heavenly treasures, they had already begun bargaining. Chen Chen told them to get lost without hesitation. Nevertheless, his harvest was extremely fruitful this time. While it was late at night and no one was around, Chen Chen returned to his room and took out all the heavenly treasures in his storage ring. Soon, they were strewn all across the ground and there were at least hundreds of them. If anyone saw it, they would probably be frightened to death before they even felt an urge to rob it. He's a walking mobile treasure vault. System, is there anything within a 30-meter radius that can make black tortoise eggs hatch? You couldn't have fooled me when you told me that this is the most valuable thing, right? Yes, the 100,000.year.old heavenly spirit bell stalagmite 2 meters to the left ahead of you. Hearing this answer, Chen Chen's eyelids twitched. He knew that he had to rely on the most valuable 100,000.year.old heavenly spirit bell stalagmite. Otherwise, the Xuanwu clan would have hatched a black tortoise long ago. However, the system unexpectedly gave the second answer immediately afterwards. Your blood, host. Ha! Chen Chen was dumbfounded. My blood works too. After coming back to his senses, he was incredibly excited. Blood is good since it's renewable and can be replenished. Due to his stinginess, he was immediately no longer afraid of pain. Without hesitation, he took out the dragon-slaying sword and gently slit his arm. As he sensed the sharp pain, Chen inhaled sharply before aiming his wound at the black tortoise egg. Pitter. Patter. Chen closed his eyes and listened to the sound of his blood dripping down. However, the sound soon vanished. When he opened his eyes, Chen's pupils constricted and he thought that he was dreaming. Damn it! My wound healed so quickly. My body has been damaged. As that thought emerged in Chen's mind, he stared at the ceiling, on the verge of tears. Chapter 97. You are listening at novelfull.audio. In the future, people won't think that I turn the heavenly treasure into a spirit, right? Chen was secretly worried. In fact, he was already the same as Xiao Huang. Just a tiny portion of his blood would be enough to be used as medicine. Sighing, Chen picked up the dragon-slaying sword and slit his arm once again. However, this time, he watched the wound heal at a speed visible to the naked eye. It's not easy to let blood out. Chen was speechless. He simply pressed the dragon-slaying sword onto his wound, letting the blood drip down the sword, and then onto the black tortoise egg. Doing this, he felt good but terrible at the same time. After releasing around 100 millimeters of blood, Chen put away the dragon-slaying sword. Lying in front of him, the black tortoise egg had been dyed red with blood. The glistening blood then began to slowly penetrate before finally seeping into the eggshell. Suddenly, the black tortoise eggshell began to shine, and dense blood energy erupted from within. Boom! With a soft crunch, a small crack appeared in the black tortoise eggshell. Immediately afterward, there was no movement. System, where is the most valuable thing within a 30-meter radius? The black tortoise egg that is about to hatch prematurely in front of the host. Chen was pleased to hear the system's answer. The egg went from being half-dead to hatching prematurely, which was a huge improvement. However, the egg still needed to absorb a lot more blood if it wanted to continue hatching. Chen couldn't bleed now. God knows if someone would challenge him tomorrow. After hesitating for a moment, Chen dropped a few teardrops of heavenly spirit bell stalagmite onto the eggshell, and then carefully placed the black tortoise egg into the demonic beast pouch. On the following day, the successors of the 36 clans and 18 clans were still assembled on the school grounds. Only a few of them were missing, all of whom had been seriously injured the previous day and hadn't been able to recover in time. When Chongyi saw the energetic Lin Jin and the others, a rare look of surprise appeared in his eyes. Lin Jin and Yi Wuxing were personally injured by him the previous day, but they were in alright condition today. It seemed as if the White Tiger clan and the Green Dragon clan did have a good foundation. However, it didn't matter because he could just hit them again. However, after paying the painful price the previous night, each of the clans had already learned their lesson. When Chongyi challenged Yi Wuxing again, Yi Wuxing would choose to admit defeat even if he had to be branded as someone who surrendered without putting up a fight. It couldn't be helped since they had already given out his clan master token the previous night. He couldn't possibly sell his body today. Now, his only strategy was to save his energy and do his best during the final battle tomorrow afternoon. Even if they were now excluded from the 36 clans, they had to bear with it as well. At this moment, Chen was sitting on the high platform, watching the scene in the ring and finding it boring. The successors were barely fighting and they surrendered as soon as they went inside the ring. What was there to watch? Hence, he dozed off while watching. In the afternoon, there were finally meaningful changes within the situation. The clans like the Green Dragon clan and the Vermilion Bird clan not only had to maintain the ranking of their clans, they also had to maintain the status of their ally clans. For example, the Tianyun clan helped the Yushui clan, which improved their alliance. Hence, after Chongyi used up his opportunities to challenge others, several top experts from the 36 clans made their moves once again. Also, a few people have now also become resourceful as they specifically chose to challenge clans that were restrained by their own techniques. In the end, they would all restrain each other. Hence, it didn't take long for a few successors of the 18 clans to be defeated. Even the successor of the Xianbing clan who had just recovered, had become seriously injured once again by Yi Wuxiang. Right after Yi Wuxiang defeated the successor of the Xianbing clan, the successor of another weak clan immediately challenged Yi Wuxiang, who simply conceded defeat without thinking about it. He then retreated and occupied a seat for his ally. Xiao Huang and others saw this and followed suit. Upon sight of this scene, a trace of anger surged in Chong Ye's eyes. None of the successors were fools. In order to retain the status of the 36 clans, they would do anything that they could. They would all remain still until he used up his chances for challenging others. If things continued to develop according to their plan, the Green Dragon clan and White Tiger clan would probably remain among the top 36 clans. At the thought of this, he turned and looked towards Qi Bufan. In response, Qi Bufan nodded slightly to assent. At this moment, Lin Jin had just defeated a successor from the 18 clans. Seeing that an allied clan was about to challenge Lin Jin, Qi Bufan's expression turned sullen, and an invisible pressure surged towards the successor who was about to speak up. The successor, who was only in the late stage of foundation building, was caught off guard. He grunted as he was too much of a coward to say anything. By the time he snapped back to his senses, Qi Bufan had already made his way into the ring in front. Lin Jin, you just said that you don't want to rest. You won't regret your decision, will you? If you won't back out, come spar with me. Seeing Qi Bufan in the ring, Lin Jin looked a little upset. Qi Bufan's abilities were not too bad. If he were to challenge him now, he wouldn't be able to remain in the best state for tomorrow. Seeing Lin Jin's hesitance, Qi Bufan mocked, you said that day that I was not worthy to be your senior brother. Are you going to concede defeat to me now? Lin Jin's pupils instantly constricted upon hearing his words. He was at least ranked second among the elites and was the successor of the Green Dragon clan. How could he tolerate such ridicule? Besides, Qi Bufan was just a lapdog. What right did he have to act so arrogant? With that in mind, Lin Jin responded coldly, in that case, let's spar. Let me see if a member of a small clan like you deserves to be ranked third. After he spoke, Lin Jin roared into the sky as his right arm quickly began to expand. In no time, his entire right arm had turned into an extremely thick and huge dragon claw. The fluctuations that it emitted were filled with power. Along with his arm, half of his face began to distort as dragon scales began to appear all around it. It was Lin Jin's first time using such means. Even when he previously faced Chong Yi for the first time, he didn't use such a state. Rumor has it that you have the genes of a demon. Ha, seems like it's true. How dare a bastard call himself a human successor? Qi Bufan had a sharp tongue. Bang! As soon as he finished speaking, Lin Jin roared, and a wisp from the power of the dragon covered the entire ring. Moments later, the dragon claw rapidly began extending towards Qi Bufan. Before the dragon claw reached Qi Bufan, the ground of the ring had already begun to rip apart. The power of his arm had already vaguely surpassed the peak of foundation building. Standing in front of the incoming claw, Qi Bufan murmured, flames of falling tranquility. In an instant, black flames sprang up under the earth. The flames were extremely bizarre as they were hovering over the ring without affecting it. However, when it touched Lin Jin's dragon claw, it made his expression drastically change. Ha, do you think I don't know you well? These flames of falling tranquility specialize in burning ethereality, and your current state of consumption of ethereality is not so small. I'll see how long you can last. Qi Bufan laughed coldly. At the same time, the black flames had spread across Lin Jin's entire body. If Lin Jin sealed his ethereality completely, the black flames would naturally vanish. However, sealing one's ethereality was no different from admitting defeat. Thinking of this, Lin Jin's expression suddenly became fierce, and an unparalleled power violently erupted from within his thin body. Die! Boom! The black flames continued to burn, however, Lin Jin didn't care about it at all. In an instant, he emptied all the ethereality from his body, and once again pushed his palm out with unparalleled power. A fan-shaped depression immediately appeared on the ring and Qi Bufan who was in the middle was blasted away by the impact. Just as he was about to fall out of the ring, Qi Bufan suddenly stopped his body and forced himself to stop at the edge. However, his clothes had already been torn, thus revealing his glistening armor underneath. Pushed. Qi Bufan spat out a mouthful of blood as his skin turned incredibly pale. However, his lips were still curled smugly. He had blocked Lin Jin's overwhelming blow. With ruthlessness in his eyes, Qi Bufan looked at Lin Jin, who had had his ethereality depleted by the black flames, standing in the center of the ring. He then took out an elixir from his pocket and swallowed it. As soon as he ate the pill, his wounds began to recover at a speed visible to the naked eye. Seeing this, the successors subconsciously looked at Chongyi. The only elixir that could heal wounds so quickly was the Wuxia clan's heartless elixir. However, the elixir was impossible for outsiders to obtain, and now that Qi Bufan had swallowed it in public, it meant that he had revealed his ties with the Wuxia clan. "Ha, didn't you make a wild claim to me a few days ago? How about now? You've lost, haven't you? The second best elite within the state of Jin is a good .4. Nothing." Qi Bufan walked up to Lin Jin and mocked him straight to his face. When he was almost finished, he kicked Lin Jin 4 times to cripple his limbs, so as to vent his anger to his heart's content. Moments later, he threw another forceful kick at Lin Jin that sent him flying out of the ring. The power of the kick was witnessed by each person in the crowd. If Lin Jin was not half-demon, the kick would have certainly meant his death. The expressions of the successors who saw this scene were extremely complicated. Lin Jin, the second top elite of the state of Jin and the strongest of the 36 clans, had been defeated. Will the ranking battle go on according to plan? We can't even deal with Chongyi, and now Qi Bufan has intervened as well. To add to the misery, Qi Bufan was a very ruthless person. A few days prior, Lin Jin had merely bickered with him, but today, he decided to deal him a heavy blow. The successors were all shocked by Qi Bufan's ruthless methods, and their eyes were filled with fear. Sensing the gazes of amazement and awe in the eyes of those around him, Qi Bufan was thoroughly pleased. However, seconds later, something appeared in his mind as he immediately turned his head to look at the 14th of the 36 seats of the top 36 clans. "Chen, did you enjoy watching this battle? I have good news for you, you are next. If you have the guts, don't concede defeat when the time comes." The successors subconsciously looked at Chen, who was seated quietly on the high platform, with a trace of sympathy in their eyes. Qi Bufan was clearly a person who liked holding grudges. Even now, he still bore a grudge about the fact that Chen had severely injured Zhu Ji, the successor of the Huda clan. Now that he had dealt with Lin Jin, he naturally shifted his attention to Chen. Chapter 98. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Ha! Ah! Chen yawned and woke up from his sleep, only to see a group of successors staring at him. He was a little speechless. "What are you guys looking at me for? Is it over today?" The successors were speechless. "He's trying to give you a warning, can you be more attentive? Senior brother Chen. Qi Bufan is scaring you." Yulan Xin, who was at the side, was speechless. "So much for me worrying about senior brother. Yet, he's sleeping. What is he scaring me for?" Chen looked at the exasperated Qi Bufan, who was in the center of the ring, his eyes full of curiosity. Qi Bufan was so infuriated by his reaction that he almost vomited blood. He was initially very domineering when he took advantage of the opportunity after defeating Lin Jin to say those things. Yet, his words had no effect. If he had to say it again he would seem silly. Thinking of this, he glowered at Chen Chen and got out of the ring without saying anything. However, deep down, he had already made up his mind tomorrow he would not only cripple Chen Chen's limbs tomorrow, he would injure him badly. On the way back, Yu Lanxin said with some embarrassment, "Brother Chen, my weakness caused you to end up getting hated by others. Qi Bufan has warned that he will attack you tomorrow. Why don't you admit defeat first before challenging a weaker opponent to get your seat back? You're looking down on me, huh?" Chen Chen said, laughing as he walked. Qi Bufan defeated Lin Jin and crippled him too. If there is no supreme heavenly treasure, I'm afraid the Green Dragon clan is going to be kicked out of the 36 clans, Yu Lanxin said worriedly with fear on her face. The second among the elites had his limbs crippled too. That was too brutal. Of course, after 2 days of the ranking battle, the elite ranking had now changed too, with Qi Bufan replacing Lin Jin as the second on the list. He defeated Lin Jin. Is he that powerful? Chen Chen's expression became serious all of a sudden. He had really been sleeping because he was fatigued from taking treasures from the other successors and making himself bleed last night. Exactly. Yu Lanxin exclaimed, feeling more energized when she saw that Chen Chen had finally become more serious. Senior brother has finally realized how serious things are. Oh. Chen Chen responded distractedly. He didn't care about Qi Bufan. He was actually concerned about Yuan Qingtian, who trumped Qi Bufan in strength and was still seated on the seat of the number 1 clan. What is this guy doing? Qi Bufan has defeated Lin Jin and this guy can defeat Qi Bufan. He's probably on par with Chongyi, right? What is such a powerful person doing being a mascot and staying silent? Impossible, absolutely impossible, there must be something fishy about this. What exactly went wrong? Chen Chen couldn't figure it out, but it would be the last day of the ranking battle tomorrow and if there was anything fishy, it would be revealed then. Seeing that Chen Chen was getting distracted again, Yu Lanxin felt helpless. Even though he was the one who would be facing Qi Bufan's attack, she was more worried than him. Just as the two of them were walking, a sudden hollering came from a special store in the distance. It has begun. Tomorrow, Qi Bufan, who's ranked 2nd among the elites, will be going against Chen Chen who is ranked 7th. Those who bet that Qi Bufan will win 1.2 times of your betting amount while those who bet that Chen Chen wins, will win 5 times your betting amount. Hearing that, Yu Lanxin's eyes lit up and she muttered, "Senior brother Chen, if I bet 10,000 spirit stones on Qi Bufan's victory, won't I earn 2,000 spirit stones tomorrow?" "My foot, if you do that, you will lose 10,000 spirit stones tomorrow," Chen Chen said with displeasure. However, a sinister grin appeared on his face a moment later. "However, you can go ahead and bet 100 spirit stones. Maybe, I might admit defeat. Senior brother Chen Chen, you've finally come around. Actually, it's not a big deal to admit defeat, look at Yi Wuxia and they rest. They've all learned to admit defeat too." Seeing that Chen Chen had figured it out, Yu Lanxin proceeded to place her bet in high spirits. However, she did not bet 100 spirit stones, but secretly bet 200 spirit stones. Only a fool would choose not to earn spirit stones. However, the owners of the gambling dens and gamblers were not stupid. When they say that the successor of the Yushui clan who was close to Chen Chen, had bet 200 spirit stones on Qi Bufan, he immediately smelled something fishy. There must be insider news. Hence, a bunch of people swarmed forwards to bet on Qi Bufan winning. Soon, the betting returns for Qi Bufan became 1.1 while Chen Chen's became 1.10. By the time Chen Chen returned to Iran, the odds in the entire capital had become 1.15. There will be countless merit in persuading others to quit gambling. Looking at the odds of the major gambling dens in the capital, there was holy light on Chen Chen's face. He then called Zhang Ji over. "Zhang Ji, do you know where the biggest gambling den in town is?" Zhang Ji exclaimed, "Big brother, I know, I even bet my entire fortune on you. 30 spirit stones." However, there was no pain in his eyes. Instead, he felt excited. He was joyous because he was about to earn several hundred spirit stones. He had never doubted his big brother Chen Chen. He didn't care about the elite's ranking and betting odds either, as they were just bullshit to him. Chen Chen was rather touched too. Right from the beginning, Zhang Ji, who had come out to cultivate immortality with him, was the only one who understood him. But 30 spirit stones. Zhang Ji is pretty poor. Although Zhang Ji was considered rich compared to his fellow disciples, he was too poor to be an underling of the wealthy Chen Chen. As he thought about it, he could not help but feel guilty. "Zhang Ji, take the spirit stones in this storage bag and bet all of them on me. Let's split the earnings between the two of us." Zhang Ji grabbed the storage bag and checked the number of spirit stones inside, after which his cheeks twitched. 10,000 spirit stones. O.org. If he wins, the payout will be 15 times of 10,000. That'll make all the gamblers in the city go bankrupt. Big brother actually said that he's willing to split the winnings with me. Wouldn't that mean that I'll be getting 75,000 spirit stones? Zhang Ji inhaled sharply. Zhang Ji's vision turned dark. Fortunately, he didn't faint and instead hurriedly shook his head. "Brother, I don't want so many spirit stones. With my current talent, 1 spirit stone a day is enough, even if I cultivate diligently at all times. If I keep so many spirit stones on me, it's going to be a disaster rather than a blessing." Hearing this, Chen Chen was a little speechless, but he had to admit that Zhang Ji had a point. Although Zhang Ji had eaten some heavenly treasures too, his cultivation qualifications were limited, and he was only at the 3rd tier of Qi training. It would indeed be a fatal disaster if someone with that status of cultivation had tens of thousands of spirit stones with him. "Big brother, stop thinking about it. I'll go take a look at the gambling den." As Zhang Ji spoke, he put away the storage bag well and left. He ran in. Staring at his back, Chen Chen smiled and shook his head. Although Zhang Ji usually seemed silly, he was smart at the right time. Ever since he arrived in the capital, he hadn't messed up before. He was at auspicious gambling Denver. It was the largest gambling den in the capital, which generated a large revenue that was no less than that of the top brothel of the capital, Drunken Red House. After the start of the ranking battle that had been going on over the past few days, they had a revenue of tens of thousands of spirit stones. The gambling den owner was filled with joy. Although it was already late at night, the gambling den was still crowded and some were placing bets while some were placing dices. "Boss, for the ranking battle tomorrow, I'll bet 10,000 spirit stones on Chen Chen, the successor of the Tianyun clan." At this moment, Zhang Ji walked over, dressed in a Chinese costume. His clothes were fluttering and he no longer looked like someone's underling. Instead, he looked like a nobleman. 10,000 spirit stones. The staff of the gambling den were shocked. It was a large sum of money that only a few in the capital could afford. The sudden appearance of such a large betting amount usually meant that there was something odd behind it. Thinking of this, he subconsciously wanted to inform the boss. However, at that moment, a single file of people entered. "I'm betting 20,000 spirit stones on myself." Hearing this voice, the people in the gambling den instantly fell silent, and everyone subconsciously looked in the direction of the source of the voice. They saw Qi Bufan standing at the door of the gambling den and fanning his paper fan with some derision in his eyes. The other successors of the 18 clans were behind him. The successor of the Luoyu clan. The second of the elites has arrived. And the fifth of the elites, the successor of the Xianbing clan. After a moment of silence, the gamblers were in an uproar. It was the first time they had seen such a situation. Besides, Qi Bufan actually bet 20,000 spirit stones. Originally, when they saw that the person who had just arrived had bet 10,000 spirit stones on Xianxia to win, they thought that there might be something strange behind it, but now it seemed that they had thought too much. Their bet amounts were 10,000 spirit stones and 20,000 spirit stones respectively. It was obvious who was more confident. When the staff of the gambling den saw the spirit stones, they naturally grabbed Zhang Ji's bet and gave a betting ticket to Zhang Ji. Zhang Ji grabbed the betting ticket, turned around and left without saying a word. Looking at Zhang Ji's back, there was some coldness in Qi Bufan's eyes. Several people chipped in for the 20,000 spirit stones that he had. Yet, Zhang Ji took out 10,000 spirit stones all at once. Is he Xianxia's underling? But what makes him so confident? Could it be that he is ready to go all out and take a gamble? Ridiculous. At this moment, Qi Bufan felt insulted. He had even defeated Lin Jin, who was the second best elite in the state of Jin. He even felt that he would be able to do better than Chongyi if he received the same treatment as Chongyi. However, even then, there was still someone who felt that he could possibly lose to Xianxia. Atrocious. Outrageous. Detestable. Pathetic. Foolish. Thinking about it, his expression turned menacing as his joy from defeating Lin Jin vanished. He turned around and said coldly to a successor, "Follow him. If he's Xianxia's subordinate, cripple him." Chapter 99. You are listening at novelfull.audio. It was late at night in the Iran Inn, and Xianxia was still giving blood to the black tortoise egg. Compared to the previous day, there were a few more cracks on the black tortoise eggshell, and it seemed that it would take at least 10 days to 2 weeks to hatch. You drink my blood every day, so you'll also have my bloodline too, right? What should I name you? How about Sun Tortoise? While being distracted, Xianxia began to realize that his hand had stopped hurting. When he was almost done draining blood from his body, he would drink a bowl of tonic soup made by Jianyang to nourish his body. Dong dot dong, suddenly, there was a knock on the door. Seeing this, Xianxia put away the black tortoise egg and opened the door. Junior brother Sun, is something wrong? Sun Tiangang was standing at the door with a somewhat worried expression. Successor, Zhang Ji hasn't returned yet. Hearing this, Xianxia frowned slightly. He had been gone for 2 hours. Those who cultivated immortality were usually swift on their feet. Zhang Ji should have been back long ago. It was impossible for Zhang Ji to be playful and go for a stroll in the night market. Zhang Ji was an honest person, and his favorite hobbies were reading or cultivating. Thinking of this, Xianxia could not help but be worried. Zhang Ji had 10,000 spirit stones with him. There's no way I would have gotten robbed, right? Junior brother Sun, wait at home while I go look around the gambling den. Okay, I'll inform you using the communication token if he comes back. Sun Tiangang agreed. Xianxia nodded and turned around to leave the Iran Inn. At night, the capital was bustling, especially the streets where the brothels and gambling dens were located. They were brightly lit with many people coming and going. Xianxia frowned as he searched using the system. However, he found nothing throughout his journey to the auspicious gambling Denver. Unfortunately, Zhang Ji's status of cultivation was too low, so he didn't have a communication token. Otherwise, he would have been much easier to find. When he thought of it, Xianxia sighed. Fortunately, Zhang Ji was favored by the heavens and was born blessed. Otherwise, he wouldn't have such a steady mentality. He entered the auspicious gambling den and asked the staff, only to hear that someone had indeed come by and bet 10,000 spirit stones on him, which was to his relief. Good thing he has already spent those spirit stones. At least he won't be targeted by robbers. Just as Xianxia was about to go out and look for him, the communication token lit up. It was a message from Sun Tiangang. Senior brother, Zhang Ji is back. But his words were random and his speech was slurred. Xianxia's heart dropped as he suddenly became filled with fury. It seems that something happened, the culprit better not let me know who he is. Without hesitation, Xianxia flew towards the Iran Inn, arriving at the entrance in only a few short moments. When he arrived, he noticed the echoes of several girls crying within the Iran Inn. Hearing the crying, Xianxia tensed up and hurriedly entered. In the courtyard, Sun Tiangang was transfusing his ethereality to Zhang Ji, his face covered in beads of sweat. At this moment, Zhang Ji's body was covered in blood and he appeared to be limbless. He was no different from a corpse. Seeing this scene, Xianxia took a deep breath and suppressed the anger in his heart. He then yelled, "Let's go." When Sun Tiangang saw Xianxia, he hurriedly made way, as if Xianxia was his master and pillar of support. Seeing how miserable Zhang Ji was, Xianxia took out a small bottle of heavenly spirit bell stalagmite from his storage ring without hesitation and gave it to Zhang Ji. Suddenly, a rich burst of vitality spewed out from Zhang Ji's body, as some of his external injuries had already begun to recover at a speed visible to the naked eye. Seeing the scene, the girls at the side stopped crying, as they looked at Xianxia with horror in their eyes. That's the means of an immortal. However, Xianxia ignored their gazes and asked quietly, "How did he come back?" He had just examined Zhang Ji's body and realized that there were several fractures inside his body. It was impossible for him to make his way back alive with his injuries. He was left at the door, the culprit was already gone when I found him. The anger in Sun Tiangang's eyes was about to emanate after he spoke. He then lowered his head again as he seemed to be sobbing. Senior brother Xianxia, junior brother Zhang Ji's elixir field has been ruined. What? Hearing this, Xianxia panicked and his pitch became higher. He hurriedly touched Zhang Ji's diaphragm, only to realize that there was indeed no ethereality in his elixir field. There was no reaction either. His elixir field has indeed been ruined. The elixir field was not a tangible organ but an intangible and invisible existence that could not be repaired just with strong vitality or ethereality. The heavenly spirit bell stalagmite may be able to repair one's heart and allow limbs to regrow, but it could not repair the invisible elixir field. Perhaps, only creation items that were similar to the primeval fruit of ethereality could repair an elixir field. Perhaps, Zhang Ji's cultivation path could be continued only if he gave up on cultivating immortality and turned to other sordid paths. Thinking of this, Xianxia's heart was filled with sorrow. Zhang Ji was favored by the heavens, so Xianxia always thought that nothing would ever happen to him. Hence, he was never worried about Zhang Ji's safety. In fact, he would occasionally let him do something dangerous, such as taking him to the capital this time. Now, it seems, he failed to protect Zhang Ji, who could not escape the ordeal. Coughs. The cough interrupted Xianxia's trance. Zhang Ji slowly opened his eyes and smiled when he saw Xianxia's cold and handsome face. "Big brother. I knew I wouldn't die. You're still smiling, your elixir field has been destroyed. Tell me, who did it?" Xianxia barked in exasperation. "It seems to be a successor who follows Qi Bufan. I couldn't see him clearly, he struck too quickly." While speaking, Zhang Ji pulled out a betting ticket that was stained with blood and placed it in Xianxia's hand. "Big brother, fortunately, he didn't take this away. It's worth more than 100,000 spirit stones. I was scared soulless." Looking at the blood-stained betting ticket, Xianxia lowered his head as his eyes were slightly reddened. Qi Bufan. At this point, he completely understood why Qi Bufan didn't kill Zhang Ji and instead left him at the entrance of the Iran Inn after ruining his elixir field. This is blatant provocation. Qi Bufan left Zhang Ji alive as he wants me to know that I'm the culprit. How arrogant. Big brother, avenge me in the ranking battle tomorrow. In the future, I won't be able to cultivate anymore, I'm afraid I can only do simple things for you. Zhang Ji's eyes were extremely gloomy at this point. The effects of the heavenly spirit bell stalagmite were great. At this moment, most of his external injuries had already healed and his broken bones had also started reconnecting. Without the excruciating pain, he naturally detected that his elixir field had been destroyed. When he thought of the fact that he would no longer be able to cultivate immortality in the future, he fell into great agony. Don't worry, with me around, the destruction of your elixir field is not a big deal. Sooner or later, I'll allow you to cultivate immortality again. After he spoke, Chen Chen wiped his eyes. He was truly upset and miserable, unlike the successors who were pretending yesterday. Did he lack spirit stones? Actually, he didn't. Tens or hundreds of thousands were just a number to him. Anyway, the truly good things could not be bought with spirit stones. To him, there was no harm in taking money. However, Zhang Ji now had his elixir field destroyed. This made him feel extremely guilty. He had taken away too many things from Zhang Ji. If not for him, the primeval fruit of ethereality would have belonged to Zhang Ji. If not for Zhang Ji, he would have never gone to the Tianyun clan. However, the silly Zhang Ji would always look up to him and treat him like an elder brother even though he had fooled him several times before. Now, Zhang Ji's elixir field had also been ruined because he was running an errand for Chen Chen. He wouldn't take it lying down no matter what. Jionyang, please have someone send Zhang Ji back to his room to rest. Chen Chen turned and said to Jionyang with a sullen expression. Hearing this, Jionyang immediately arranged for two girls to help Zhang Ji back to his room. Senior son, does Elder Zhao know about what happened over here? Chen Chen turned his head to look at Sun Tiangang again. I haven't informed him yet. Sun Tiangang shook his head. Afraid that he would be misunderstood by Elder Zhang of the Yushui clan, Elder Zhao was now staying in an inn that was hundreds of meters away. It was just a stone's throw away. However, he had now gotten used to having Chen Chen as his master and pillar of support, and thus forgot about Elder Zhao. Good that you didn't inform him. Chen Chen spat out a mouthful of turbid qi with a cold gaze in his eyes. The ranking battle of the 36 clans was brutal and everyone was fighting each other, all for the sake of the interests of their clans. He could understand why, but he wouldn't fight hard with someone because of that. However, Qi Bufan had actually harmed an accompanying disciple who was only in the Qi training period, outside of the ranking battle. It was already a violation of the rules which also touched Chen Chen's bottom line. Senior brother, you want to? Sun Tiangang couldn't help but ask when he noticed the piles of gloomy clouds and the terrifying aura coming from Chen Chen. I'm going to avenge my brother. He's provoking me, huh? Doesn't he want me to know that he's the culprit? Now, he has succeeded, but I wonder if he can afford to pay the price. After he spoke, Chen Chen adjusted his clothes and took out a book from his storage ring, which he then handed to Jionyang. Jionyang, this is a book about business management that I have been compiling for a while. I was going to give it to you when I left, but it seems better to give it to you now. And Jionyang grabbed the book and covered her small mouth, her eyes filled with shock. What is the successor trying to do? Before she could figure it out, Chen Chen had already begun making his way towards the exit of the Iran Inn. Seeing this scene, Jionyang did not know what Chen Chen was going to do. She immediately exclaimed, Successor, why don't you defeat Qi Bufan in the ring tomorrow and take revenge for Zhang Ji? Hearing these words, Chen Chen paused slightly. Without turning around, he instead said coldly, killing is prohibited in the ring. His words were full of murderous intent. And Jionyang simply felt her body turning chilly, like her heart. By the time she came back to her senses, Chen Chen had already disappeared. Chapter 100. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Walking on the busy street, Chen Chen held a small bottle of heavenly spirit bell stalagmite in his hand. His master once told him that it was not good to raise his status of cultivation too quickly as his body would not be able to adapt to the sudden increase in power. Soon, he would be too powerful to go about his daily life. Hence, he hadn't used many heavenly treasures to assist his cultivation. However, today. Chen shook his head and gulped down the bottle of Heavenly Spirit Bell stalagmite in one go as he walked along the street. Powerful ethereality instantly engulfed his body, and his status of cultivation increased at a speed visible to the naked eye. Before he could walk far, his status of cultivation level had already soared from the middle stage of foundation building to the late stage of foundation building. Of course, he wasn't afraid of Qi Bufan. With his strength, he could deal with Qi Bufan, who was at the peak of foundation building, even though he was only at the middle stage. He was afraid of the person whom he had to face after dealing with Qi Bufan. After casually throwing away an empty vial, Chen sped up. The cold breeze blew over. Chen's heart was as cold as ice, and his killing intent was unstoppable. As for the bet of 10,000 spirit stones, he had already put the thought in the back of his mind. Am I supposed to exchange Zhang Ji's blood-stained betting ticket for spirit stones? He was not that hard up for spirit stones. In the floral moon house. In the night, the lights shined brightly, covering the endless stream of guests. Gu Qingqing looked at the distinguished guests who were dressed fancily, secretly rejoicing. She had made the right bet. She had invited Qi Bufan to stay at the floral moon house, making a great deal of money in the process. Qi Bufan had defeated Lin Jin during the day, making him so famous that he had risen to second place in the elite's ranking. At this point, he was enjoying a lot of attention. The new king who was ranked first was staying in the palace. Hence, he couldn't go out often. Because of this, in a certain sense, Qi Bufan was the strongest among the successors who could live outside. Yet, a person like him was staying in the floral moon house. It was a great honor for Gu Qingqing. They had not only defeated the rivals of the industry, but also restaurants and inns like the Purple Qi Pavilion. It was foreseeable that the floral moon house would be raised another notch if the Luoyu clan were to successfully advance to becoming one of the 36 clans in the future. However, as she thought about it, she felt that the anger she had suffered throughout the past few days was worth it. To be frank, Qi Bufan was gentlemanly and decent. Looking on the surface, however, he was maniacal and arrogant deep down. He respected no one and was hard to get along with. If he was not a top successor, she would have told him to get lost. Just as she continued thinking in her head, a familiar figure appeared in sight. What is he doing here in the floral moon house? Gu Qingqing was puzzled. The person who had just stepped into the floral moon house was none other than Chen. Seeing Chen, Gu Qingqing grew a complicated expression. She had seen his business management skills previously and for some reason, she felt different about him. It was the empathy that a hero would feel when looking at another hero. Unfortunately, it was impossible for Chen, the successor of the Tianyun clan, to concentrate on running a brothel. Thinking of this, she shook her head and walked towards the figure with a signature gentle smile on her face. Successor of the Tianyun clan, what brings you here to the floral moon house? This time, I've already learned my lesson. If you want to stay for free, I won't allow it. Staring at Gu Qingqing without much of an expression, Chen asked calmly, I'm here to look for Qi Bufan. Where is Qi Bufan? Hearing Chen's words, Gu Qingqing subconsciously looked towards the top of the building. Turning her head, she happened to notice a bloodstain on Chen's chest from the corner of her eye. Seeing the bloodstain, Gu Qingqing immediately became alert. The smile on her face disappeared and she asked, Successor, what are you looking for Qi Bufan for? Chen repeated coldly, to settle scores. He then ignored Gu Qingqing as he began making his way directly towards the top of the building. Ah! Successor, wait a minute, Qi Bufan is now celebrating on the highest floor with 2 successors by his side. Can't you wait until tomorrow to settle scores with him? I can't afford to have any trouble here in the floral moon house. In her mind, Gu Qingqing subconsciously wanted to block Chen away from entering. However, when she was about to approach, an amazing aura was suddenly emitted from his body. She instantly sensed terrifying dragons might mixed with terrifying killing intent. Once the pressure was emitted, Gu Qingqing froze in place as she did not dare to move. The guests around Chen stiffened as they felt this aura, immediately turning around to leave. Soon, the guests of the Floral Moon House began to leave, one by one. Don't worry, I will compensate you accordingly when the time comes. Tap. Tap. After he spoke, Chen began making his way up the stairs while Gu Qingqing stared at him, her eyes filled with confusion. The successor of the Tianyun clan seems different today. He's no longer the young gentleman who's always grinning. Today, he's cold, indifferent, aloof, and condescending. Watching Chen gradually approaching the top of the building, she dared not stop him. In fact, she didn't even dare to make a single sound. The feud between immortals was not like the competition between brothels. It was not something she could easily interfere with. Chen arrived at the top floor. There were noises coming from the private room, among which was Qi Bufan's voice. That voice was all he needed to hear. Without hesitation, Chen pushed open the door of the private room. Suddenly, the noises in the private room came to an abrupt stop, as several girls looked towards Chen who had suddenly appeared. Chen, what are you doing here? Are you here to admit your mistake to me? When Qi Bufan saw Chen, a hint of surprise flashed in his eyes. Next to him, there were two other successors who were both at the peak of foundation building, and who ranked 6th and 9th respectively among the elites. They had already turned beet red from drinking. Senior brother Qi, I think he has come here to discuss the bets. He bet 10,000 spirit stones that he will win. If he wins, he will get 150,000 spirit stones, said one of the successors whose smoky eyes were filled with derision. Another successor followed and chimed in. Not bad, if senior brother Qi is willing to admit defeat tomorrow, he will make a lot of money. Hearing these words, Qi Bufan suddenly realized something. It was what Chen had planned all along when he decided to bet 10,000 spirit stones on his own victory. If that's not it, what is he here at the Floral Moon House for? With that thought in mind, he said indifferently with his eyes full of contempt, I can admit defeat but I want 130,000 of the 150,000 spirit stones that you get tomorrow. Also, you have to kowtow to me thrice now for offending me. Before he could finish, he was interrupted by Chen. Who hurt my underling? His words were cold, forcing the three successors to immediately sober up. The pupils of one of the successors constricted a little as his peak foundation establishment aura began to emanate from his body. It was me, so what? Are you still thinking of taking revenge for a loser? At this point, the successor abruptly fell silent as Chen had already appeared in front of him abruptly like a ghost, forcibly breaking through the protective aura around his body and pinching his neck with one hand. Chen said softly, what else can I do? I can only take your life. The ethereality in his hand suddenly exploded and the bright light instantly illuminated the entire private room. Boom! With a muffled rumbling of thunder, the successor who was in the top 10 of the elite's ranking, was blown into ashes. He even created a hole that had a radius of several meters in the wall behind the explosion. Murder! Murder! Upon sight of this scene, the girls in the private room screamed and left. There were 7 floors throughout the entire Floral Moon House and the sounds of yelling and shrieks of horror immediately filled the air amidst the chaos.